The Honeydew with Ryan Sickler.
Welcome back to the Honeydew, y'all. We're over here doing it in the Night Pants Studios. I'm Ryan Sickler, ryansickler.com, and Ryan Sickler on all your social media. And I want to say thank you every week. Thank you for watching this show. Thank you for supporting this show. Please hit that subscribe. I'm telling you, it's a free way to help the show. All right? Costs you nothing, means everything to us. And if you got to have another episode a week, then you got to check out the Patreon. It's called The Honeydew with Y'all. And y'all have the wildest fucking stories I've ever heard. I say it every week. What are we going to hear this week? And every week I'm like, holy fucking shit. It's my favorite show to do. I can't believe the stories you all have out there. It's $5 a month, all right? You get audio, you get video, you get the Honeydew a day early, you get it ad-free, you get it at no additional cost, and if you sign up for the year, you get over a month of episodes free, all right? That's how it works. And if you're looking for a new podcast, check out an old fave, man, The Crab Feast. It's a storytelling podcast, audio only. It's something I did with Jay Larson back in the day. Today's guest actually has a fantastic episode on The Crab Feast you should check out. Now, that's the biz. You know what we do over here. We highlight the lowlights, and I always say these are the stories behind the storytellers. Very excited to have this guest here. First time on the Honeydew. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Miss Pat. Welcome to the Honeydew, Miss Pat.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. It's been a long time. We've been trying to make this happen.
We have. We've been back and forth and back and forth. I come here and I can't make it. So thank you for being patient.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here. Look, I'm really excited to talk to you, but before we do, plug and promote everything you want to promote, please.
Go to MissPatComedy.com for all my tour dates. I have a TV show called The Miss Pat Show on BET Plus that just dropped the third season yesterday. So make sure you go and watch the new season of The Miss Pat Show. If you're not familiar with The Miss Pat Show, you got 3 seasons to get into, okay? 3 funny-ass seasons.
Yeah, I've watched it. I watch it.
Thank you.
I do. Yes, I have BET Plus because I signed up for all kinds of packages. And I wanted to say again, too, I said it to you before we were recording, but congrats, because to get even a second season these days with everything that's out there is huge. So to have a third one's you're really doing something.
You know, we work really hard over there to stick out because, you know, BET Plus is a new platform. I don't even think they're 3 years old. If they 3 years old.
So did you start your first season when they launched then?
Well, they was already out. Okay. So they might be 4 years old. So when we first got there, they was pretty new. Mm-hmm. And so I was a little worried in the beginning. I'm like, when they told us BET, because it was Hulu show, they did it. They dropped it.
I see.
And so we was sitting there waiting. BET Plus picked it up. And I was like, what the hell is BET Plus? Never heard of it. And then when we got into it, I tell my co-creator all the time, I say, I think we at the right place where they allow us to be us. Ain't nobody there that don't understand what it is to be us in America. They understand that the jokes we're writing, and it brings over, I know the Miss Pat Show brings over a lot of diversity for BET Plus. So, I was just happy they picked us up and they rolled with us. They let us go there.
Yeah, what I love about you, though, is you jumped in back with all of us a long time ago. Ari and Eric Abrams and those guys, like even before everything got crazy and popular, and you've been right there in the pocket the whole time, just killing it.
I'm trying. It's my first podcast I ever did was Eddie F's.
Was it Eddie F first? Okay.
Eddie F was the first. I didn't know what the fuck a podcast was. Didn't know anything about podcasts. One of my friends was listening to Eddie F at the time, and he was like, I want somebody with some real stories, and he's like, you should try this podcast, yo. What's a podcast? So I flew out to LA and I did it.
You did.
And the next thing I know, I was getting invited on every white boy in the city podcast. I felt like a hooker. They were just passing me around. More stories.
Well, your stories are unlike anybody's stories. I mean, and you've got an unlimited supply of them. And I have my favorites. Jimmy Carter's one of my favorites.
I just did that on Jimmy Kimmel.
I love it. Shot Through the Titties, one of my favorites.
Yes.
Selling drugs outside while you could look right in the school window. Yes. This is one of my favorites, too. There's so many of them.
Before the school zone went up. No drug school zone went up.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Now you can't do that.
I was grandfathered in by the time they realized that shit was even a law. I was like, y'all ain't talking to me because I was here before these little ugly sign was.
So here's what I do want to know, because the wild stories, they're out there. Like, what is life like now for you? Like, because I know I'm from Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never lose that chip on my shoulder. I always have my shoulders up, and there's always at least one fist clenched. How do you adapt to quote unquote regular life? Like you said, you told me before, you live in an all white neighborhood. Like, what is life like for Miss Pat once you get out of that lifestyle, let's say?
You talking about out of the celebrity lifestyle?
No, not the celeb. I'm talking about what is life like, just even if what is it like leaving a life of drugs, crime, all of that, like that transition.
It's well, I've been married almost 30-some years, so
but now you're telling these stories, and people, your neighbors are hearing this, the people your kids go to school with are hearing this. What is life like for you?
Everybody's interested in the stories. I don't think people really judge. If they do, they don't say shit. And if they do, I don't care.
You don't get any people that slide up to you at the events or whatever, be like, I heard you on that Joe Rogan podcast.
Well, sometimes they hear me all the time on Rogan, and they love the stories. And the ones that don't, like I tell them, I say, hey, I'm like a fast food restaurant. You're going to pass 10 of them to get to me. So take your pick. I'm not here to please you. I'm 50 years old. I don't give a fuck.
Are you 50? You look
good.
I'll
be 51 in April. I said, I don't give a fuck. I don't have time to be, like we did a bit just on season 3 of the Miss Pat show, and we said Botox got more chemicals in it than the Flint River. And this lady was like, I'm going to write into BET for you. I said, lady, get the fuck out of my inbox, and I don't give a fuck. I'm bringing awareness to that shit because they stopped talking about it. So get out of my inbox with this bullshit and this TV and move along, bitch.
Yeah, this isn't where you go for your your complaints about Flint, Michigan, and Botox.
Yeah, so you have people that wants to judge. You have people that have their little say so to everybody. But I call them. I say you're mad because you can't do what I'm doing. That's why your fat ass sitting behind your computer judging me. So I don't care.
So you've been authentic since day one.
I don't know how to change.
Same. I don't know how to be anybody different. I try to be a better me, but that's about all I can do. I don't know how to change.
It took me 2 seasons to learn how to act. I said, oh, okay. I'm supposed to cry right here.
I think you do pretty good. I mean, all comedians. I mean, no offense. I could see you taking another role if you worked at it, but comedians, I think any comedian that can act, I'm like, they're doing good. They're doing good.
You know what? I remember saying in I say, Rogan, please just watch my pilot. And Rogan, I don't really like watching my friends' stuff because I don't like being judgmental. I say, watch it, Rogan. I'm telling you, just watch it and give me your honest opinion. And I think Rogan was out in the jungle somewhere on vacation that I could never fucking afford because I'm telling you, as he was typing the text back to me, I could hear the rainforest. Where the fuck are you at vacationing, Rogan? So, and he texts back, he's like, this is nothing I was expecting. And he was like, this is really fucking good. And I was like, well, you have somebody from totally different walks of life that I am. And he gave me his honest opinion. He was like, if somebody don't pick this up, they're a fucking fool. And he watched it and he gave me his feedback and I was like, oh, okay. I got something here. So even after Hulu dropped it, that always stuck in the back of my head how much of a crossover this show is. It's not black or it's not white. It's just America problems. What we do as an American people, human beings. And so, I want to keep. I personally want to keep producing stuff like that.
What are some of the challenges you have with stuff you actually want to say or do, and then the network or the the execs are like, we can't do that, we can't go there. Like, what are some of the challenges with that?
I'm on BT Plus or streaming, so they don't say we can't, but they do push. If you watch the first season, at the end, me and my sister, Tammy Roman, who plays on the show, we had a big argument, a big fight, because she brought drugs. She allowed my kids to bring drugs in the house, and she's an ex-drug addict. And, I goes the fuck off in the wrong way. And they was like, oh my God, we don't want to see 2 black women fighting like that. And I had to tell the network, I said, people don't watch this show to put a bow on shit. This ain't regular TV. They can go over to CBS, ABC, or anywhere for that. I said, they watch this show because they feel what we're going through. And when I slammed that door and Tammy was on the other side of that door crying, I was on the other side of that door crying because we hated that episode. And people felt it. And you know, the network kind of pushed back. And I said, let me be me. You hired me to be me. You didn't hire me to be you. I don't give a fuck about you being uncomfortable. So we did an abortion episode, and sometimes I think we hit too close to home for the execs, and it fucks with them, so they don't want it to be, they don't want to see it. So I just told them, I said, look, it's authentic TV and it's my life. Let me be me. So we've had a few pushback, and we had some stuff that we had to remove, you know, which I remember we did a derogatory episode, and we were saying stuff like the N-word, chinks, and you know, at the time, people was going around beating on Asian people. And I wanted to say Jap slap, which is an old term because I'm from the South. And they didn't really know what Jap slap was.
I've never even heard that one.
Exactly.
I've never heard that one.
It's a racist.
I've heard a lot of racism.
I didn't even know it was racist. Okay, because I grew up in the inner city of Atlanta. My mom said, "Get out here before I Jap slap your ass." Didn't know it was racist until my husband told me it was. So when we was doing this derogatory episode, we put everything in there. And I said, well, we can say nigga, but we can't say Jap slap. What kind of shit is this? So they made it change it to chinks. And I'm like, chinks is worse.
I'm going to say it is too. I'm going to say it is.
I'm like, what are y'all talking about? Yeah. So we ended up changing the word to chinks. It was just...
And that aired?
Yes, it aired. It did. And people loved the episode because it was saying how I'm 50 years old, but I got kids, and we're not eye to eye on what we can say. Back in the day, you know, your grandfather, daddy could walk around and say the N-word freely. You're not going to be able to say that today. And how old people don't realize times have changed, but a lot of people are still stuck. Like when I was taking care of my father who was down in cancer, he'd be like, I live in an all-white neighborhood. He said, these some nice crackers. I say, Daddy, these people ain't crackers, okay, Daddy? You can't be calling these people crackers, Dad. These crackers nice. These ain't the crackers I grew up with. And I'm like, Daddy. But, you know, they just...
I didn't know... I said, "Oh, you can't gyp me," and somebody's like, "You can't say that."
No,
anymore.
you can't.
I said, "You can't say what's gyp," and they said it's a derogatory from gypsy. I didn't know that.
Me
and now
neither.
you're shitting on the gypsies, and I'm like, "What? That's what that is?" I had no idea either.
No idea.
Isn't it amazing? Like where you grow up, you don't even know some shit's racist because everyone is saying it freely and openly, and every kid, every adult you meet is saying it.
It's because they look like you. It's because everybody look like you. Had y'all cross that fucking railroad track, you'd learn you can't say that shit or was racist.
Really? Even gyp in your neighborhood was racist back in the day?
No, we said gyp.
Oh, you did?
No, what else? We said gyp. So
Jap slaps one. I've never heard that one.
And it's crazy because I brought that word to the set and I was like, yeah, I gotta say Jap slap. Everybody, what the fuck is Jap slap?
And they didn't even know it.
Well, my co-creator is a 25-year-old, 26-year-old young guy. So, you know, of course he had never heard it.
Ever.
But I had to call a few people that was around my age. I was like, yeah, everybody heard of Jap slap. But we couldn't, you know, they wouldn't air it. And it was all about derogatory words. But I was shocked nobody had heard it. But I guess it was a Southern thing because I'm born and raised in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And you got to go check out the episode. Don't be in my box saying I'm saying nothing racist. I'm saying the words that have changed over the years that once was not offensive, that's very offensive now. And the whole episode was, I'm 50 and what I can't say, which was shocking. You know, and then I got my younger kids sitting there saying, you can't say those words, mama. And I'm like, wow, I can't? So it was a learning episode for all of us, I hope.
I watched a video one time. It was a politician. And it's so funny because he's an older white dude, but there's two younger white kids sitting behind him. And the guy's a redneck for sure. And he's talking about his dad working with these people where he goes, now, you might want to get me at $20, but I'm going to say you ain't going to Jew me down. And you see the two, and he says it like it's
normal conversation.
He's an old white man. These two young white kids behind him look at each other and they're like, did he fucking and you can see him on camera like, oh shit. And then all hell breaks loose and he's got to make an apology for it. And he's that old white guy. And he's like, yeah, I didn't know that was offensive. And they're like, how the hell did you not know that one was offensive?
Because he's been stuck in his own world.
That's right.
And he never came across that railroad track. Right. So somebody will say, you can't say that word. That's offensive. So, that's why I really don't worry about what people say, when I'm creating. I'm like, get the fuck out of my inbox, okay? I know I have a younger generation in my life, which I have my kids. Hey, can I have a gay daughter? I talk about, I create a lot of content about gays because my daughter is gay on the show. And I did a whole episode about him, them, there, and her. Mm-hmm. And I had no fucking idea. I had no idea people just go by him and her. And I'm like, when we did this shit? I think it's called, what is it called?
Your pronouns?
Yeah, pronoun. Ginger. Yeah. You don't know what it is either?
Gender what? Identity?
Gender something. And we did a whole episode on that shit.
Well, there's him, her, there's they, them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm like.
I've been joking with my stepson too. Like when you say they, how many people are coming over? You know what I'm saying? We got one person coming over, or we got 20 coming over. I
did a whole episode on that.
And I'm not trying to be ignorant. Gender neutral,
yes.
I love that she came in.
That's my gay daughter.
Yeah, she came
So we did a whole thing on gender neutral, and I had never heard of that shit. And the first thing I thought my other daughter said, I thought she said Neutrogena. Y'all shampoo now?
So wait, let me ask you this then. Can we talk about that?
What?
You're having a gay daughter.
What about having a gay daughter?
Well, about you. Like, were you right away accepting of it?
I knew she was gay way before she ever said she was gay.
But did you make it a comfortable place for her to come out and talk to you about it, or were you?
Well, she didn't never come out and talk. She just, she went to college and ran off, and then I was like, hey, are you gay? She was like, yes. I said, well, come on home. You can eat pussy in Atlanta. There's a whole bunch of pussy down here you can eat. And I left it as that. I didn't give a fuck. I don't eat pussy. I'm not going to tell her. I don't want her to tell me not to eat Chick-fil-A. I'm quite sure pussy don't taste like Chick-fil-A. But I'm not going to tell her what to eat. That's her fucking mouth. All I'm saying is don't put the pussy on my table and eat it.
But you didn't talk to her about that till she was in her 20s then, right? College?
Well, she never came out until she went to college.
But till you asked her.
Yeah, I asked her, I said, are you gay?
But you waited that long.
I didn't give a fuck.
But you didn't want to feel the need to have a conversation about it or anything. That's what I'm saying. As a parent, you were like, whatever, she's who she is, and I don't need to ask her.
No, she didn't. She didn't volunteer no information. Yeah. I didn't ask. I already knew she was fucking gay. She's the only one she's the only one in my house wasn't trying to get no dick. Everybody else was trying to get dick. They was climbing out the window, all on top of the roof, going down the street sucking dick. She was the only one at the house reading gay books. That's why I tell people, I say, if you don't know your child is gay, bitch, you are in denial.
Yeah, you're not doing a good job at all.
God, you're not paying attention. I agree. I don't give a fuck what she do. It's her life. It's I don't care.
Are your kids blown away by the upbringing you had?
Well, that one who just peeked in here. She was there when I sold the drugs. I kept them in her pamper, and she pushed her brother down the street with the dope in his pamper. But
is that where you would keep it?
Yeah, in their pampers.
You would?
Yeah, because a police officer can't be searching no baby drawers.
Yeah.
That's child molestation. You got to be smart when you're selling drugs.
I love the street rules. I do. I love the fucking criminal mind. It's one of my favorite fucking things.
Boy.
You're right. And no cop doing it anyway. Even if a cop said you need to check that baby's diaper. Like,
you check it, motherfucker. And I'm going to tell him you fingered my baby. The fuck away from my baby. You touch my dope, I'm gonna tell everybody you fingered my baby. Oh, you like fingering babies, huh?
Oh, that is not a fucking thing you want out there, man. Oh,
yeah, he fingered my baby, but it was cocaine in fuck the cocaine. I'm talking about his finger that went in my baby's ass. And I tell my baby, start crying.
Oh my God. Tell me the scariest story you ever had of dealing. And I mean, you've been shot through the titty.
I think that was the scariest for me. Well, no, I think
how did it go through? Did it go toward the chest?
Up my arm,
and then
came
up and out.
up through my arm and out.
Out.
Yeah. I think the scariest one time when it was when what's that drug dealer name? Pablo Escobar. Pablo Escobar was getting all the dope in America. And I went to go meet a guy. It was a Mexican dude at it's Creflo Dollar Church now. Before he bought that land over there, on Campbellton. No, I think it's on Campbellton Road. I'm not for sure.
It's called Camel Toe Road.
No, Campbellton.
Okay, all right.
I don't think it's Campbellton Road. I can't think exactly where it at, but it was like shopping centers there. So I went to go meet him about like a half a key with my partner. And at this time, I'm probably like 15, 16, talking mad shit. And I'm yelling at the Mexican and talking shit. And he just looked at me and said, I will put a fucking bullet in your head. And my friend's like, whoa. And, I didn't know nothing about all that shit that was going on. I whoop your motherfucking ass with them ugly ass boots on. My friend like, shut the fuck up, bitch. And he was like, do you know who you dealing with? That's a cartel. And I was like, what the fuck is a cartel? I'm just trying to sell dope to make pamper money. I ain't trying to, go to jail for real. But I think that was the most scariest moment once we got out of there and I realized how stupid I was.
And when they say it calmly like that, too, they don't even react. Like, I'll put a bullet right in your head. You're like,
that's
this
what
dude
he
ain't
said.
even feeling it.
He said, I put a bullet in your fucking head.
Fuck that.
So that was one of the most scariest moments. I think, I was like, I could have got killed that day.
Well, what got you into dealing and stuff like that at that early age?
My first kid's father used to sell drugs. And so he ended up going to jail and I needed rent money. So I just took my welfare check and it's called flipping it. You buy $250 for dope, you cut it up, you make $500. Okay. And so I just kept going from there.
And you're taking a welfare check, using that to buy the dope.
Just the first time.
Then you double the dope.
Yeah,
and then after that, you're off and running.
I was off and running. And then I ended up back in my old neighborhood. And one night, I just went to go stop to say hi to some friends. And this is when crack was like probably not even 3 years in the black community. Everybody was walking around like zombies. And my friend was like, if only we had some crack. And I was like, you need crack? And he was like, yeah, look at all these fucking zombies out here. I was like, I got crack. And I think I probably sold like $3,000 worth of dope in like 10 minutes.
Damn.
And he was like,
what
can you
age
get some
are
more?
you?
I'm like 16.
Oh, $3,000 back then at 16. That's like $30,000 in 5 minutes.
I had more. At the time, I had started to gain a name in the drug business. So people knew that I had created my own little trap. And a trap is where you sell at. So I created my own little block. And I was making a shit ton of money.
How many other women back then are even...
Women dated drug dealers.
Yeah.
I didn't date them.
Right, but how many are selling? You? You're the only female doing this?
Well, women were known to hold drugs for their boyfriends. I actually sold the dope. Yeah.
So you're like the only, and you're also a teenager. You're a high school kid. Are you still in school?
No, hell no.
When did you stop going to school?
8th grade.
8th grade.
Yeah, I already had 2 kids, so yeah, I was done.
By 8th grade?
Yeah.
How old were you when you had your first kid?
14.
14.
Mm-hmm.
And then your next one at what?
15.
So you got 2 kids as a teenager.
Yeah, 16.
Damn. Before you had a license.
I didn't have a license, but I had a car because I was a drug dealer.
You didn't fuck that license. You got 2 kids.
I couldn't get a license. So you needed a parent, you needed a guardian to take you for the driver's test. And I didn't have anybody. So I just had crackheads teach me how to drive.
Crackheads taught you how to drive?
Yeah, crackheads taught me how to drive.
And who's helping you take care of these babies?
Me. I made a shit ton of money. I was taking my own fucking self.
So what was what was a good week for you?
Drugs don't go by weeks. Drugs go by days.
All right.
Those times I made like $15,000, $20,000 a day.
A day?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't need anybody to help you.
I didn't need nobody.
Did you have a nice little place you kept
I had
to
a nice
away?
apartment. Yeah, my kids dressed nice and they went to school right there in the trap and, I took care of other people's kids and, yeah, I had a life.
How many times people try to rob you?
I had a crazy baby daddy, so probably twice.
And what are they coming for? The drugs and the money?
They came for the money.
The money?
Yeah.
I really would have thought they'd come for the drugs.
No, crackheads don't really rob you.
No.
Other niggas rob you. That's who rob you. Crackheads they just want some dope. They might steal your bomb. That means you're dope. Yeah. But they ain't gonna fucking put no pistol in your face.
So at what age So 16, you got 2 kids, and then when you realize you start wanting out of this, at what age? Or do you need to get out of this? What was it really? You knew
I was
you
just
needed to get
tired
out?
of the streets. And I went to jail, did some time.
For what?
Selling drugs.
You got caught?
Yeah, I
How?
did it. My cousin hid the dope wrong. And so he issued a warrant for me, and I got tired of running. I just
What's wrong?
She hid it in a place where I told her not to put it, and the police was on the ground up the street looking at us. So he knew exactly where the dope was.
He saw it all.
Yeah, he saw it all.
So how long did you go?
I did a year.
A year?
And a half. Yeah.
Where?
Fulton County, because I had other charges pending, so I didn't go down the road to prison. So I did all my time in the county.
Okay.
Because I had other court dates, so they didn't want to keep transporting me. Plus, I had a really good lawyer that kept me in the county.
And then you get out after a year.
And
Who takes the kids?
My baby daddy friend took the kids,
Okay.
and it was the fucking worst ever. But I get out. I start selling again, and I'm like, I'm sick of this shit. And I just started praying. I said, Lord, I need a husband. I need somebody gonna take me the fuck away from this shit. And popped up. I went to go see a comedy show, which was Bruce.
You went to see Bruce?
Yes,
I
and
love
my
Bruce.
kids,
Holding that mic right here. Hold on.
My friend, my brother baby mama took me, and she knew my husband brother, and we all just went out. And I was like, hey, I'm hiring for a baby daddy. I didn't tell him that. I'm hiring for a baby daddy. And so I'm like, hey, he wasn't really my type, but I jumped on it. We've been together 31 years.
That's the same guy.
Same guy.
No
31
shit.
Years. Yeah.
After a Bruce show.
Well, we started, he would come over and visit and stuff. And at the time I was moving in, I was moving from selling drugs to check forgery. And so my husband.
Oh, I love that you're moving.
Yeah, when one thing play out, you gotta get
careers.
You gotta shift careers. If not, you get fucked up. And so I'm moving to check forging, and
Are you cleaning them and stuff? Are you doing all that?
No. I was personal checks. We would fuck you up.
Oh, okay. You just take their checkbook.
Yeah, I had a friend that you just get them from crackheads and people break. You got them. You just buy checks all the time. So I ended up getting the checks, and I'm forging checks and shit like a fool. And I meet this man, and he was like, "What the fuck are you into?" And he was like, "Do you know what you're doing with those people checks?" I said, "What are you? I'm making money." He's like, "You're fucking up their lives." I'm like, "You don't know them." He's like, "And you don't either." And he just sat me down and he explained to me. He's like, "What's gonna happen to you if you go back to jail? Think about your kids. You want that man to have your kids." And I remember throwing away my dopes and my check. And I said, I'm going to get a regular job. And I remember getting hired at McDonald's and said, this shit sucks.
I'll fucking bet.
This shit sucks.
Going from drugs to McDonald's.
Oh my God. I fucking hated it. I hated it. But I stuck in it because I didn't want my kids to end up where I was. And I had such a good man who was willing to stick by me, and help me. And so after I got my sister kid, after I got married, I ended up getting custody of my sister kids. Which, mind you, this man ain't got no kids. But right out the back, he got 6 motherfucking kids.
6 total?
Because I had 2 and I got custody of my sister 4. And we just never looked back.
Do you two have children together?
I have 2 with him.
2 with him.
Yeah,
so
2.
you have 4 total?
I have 4 total.
So what was it about this man sitting you down and explaining this to you that resonated with you? Because you go from being a street hustler to listening to this person tell you about these strangers you don't give a fuck. What hit you? What made you listen to that?
He was a good man. And
why do you say that? Based on what? Like,
he was respectful. He had a job. He was educated. He had side teeth. He had.
You said side teeth.
Yeah, he had everything. He wasn't no thug. He wasn't no fucking idiot. He was like, and what really attracted
educated.
me. Well, he didn't go to college. He was in the military. He had just got out of the military. He was just something that I wasn't used to. Mm-hmm. When you that wild, you used to men treating you a certain type of way. And he didn't bring none of that to the table.
But also, there's something in you that could easily be like, "Hey, go fuck off with that bullshit." I'm saying, what
I was tired. I was tired of the streets.
You were ready to get out of it.
And I didn't want to get killed and leave my kids with, and I know the daddy wants shit, and leave my kids getting bumped around everywhere. So, I just started, when I got with him, I just started thinking about when I did that time in jail, it really opened my mind to what I was handing my kids the same thing my mama handed me, same thing my grandmama handed her, generational curse. And I was like, I can't do this to my kids. You know, I had been molested, I had been treated wrong, and I didn't want any of that to happen to my kids. And I remember when my daughter went to college, she was like, everybody got a child, everybody was molested except me. And I remember thinking, yes, I did my job. I protected the shit out of her, but I think I protected her so much she turned gay. You ain't gonna get no dick. Okay, mama, I eat a click. I forgot to say, don't eat pussy while I was raising all that hell. I was totally focusing, don't you get no dick. Dick, don't you get no dick. I was just focusing on dick and forgot to say don't eat pussy. So she's like, well, you say don't do this, so I'm gonna go over here and jump over here in a vagina.
There's no quick fix for anxiety and depression. It's not finding a new therapist or starting an exercise routine. It's not more and regular meditation or a better diet. Sometimes you need something to unlock your brain, like a new way of thinking about and seeing the world. Maybe that thing is guided ketamine therapy from Mindbloom. There is a new tool to improve your mental health, at-home ketamine therapy. Mindbloom is the leader in at-home ketamine therapy, having safely helped thousands of people overcome their anxiety and depression. Unlike traditional talk therapy, ketamine works quickly and doesn't have the unpleasant side effects of traditional antidepressants. In a study of over 1,200 Mindbloom clients, 89% reported improvements in their anxiety and depression after only 2 sessions. Right now, Mindbloom is offering my listeners $100 off your first 6-session program when you sign up at mindbloom.com/honeydew and use the promo code honeydew. Take the first step and break free from your anxiety and depression with Mindbloom. Mindbloom.com/honeydew and make sure you're using the promo code honeydew. If you're trying to improve your health, hydration is a great place to start. And Liquid IV is the hydration brand that fuels your well-being. With just 1 stick, you get 2 times faster hydration than water alone. And it's so convenient, you can use it first thing in the morning. You can use it before a workout or when you feel run down after a long night out and on long flights. Look, I just started physical therapy. I'm taking my water bottle every day with Liquid IV in it. We have it here at the studio. Putting it in my drinks here on the table. It's just water over here. You know that. Contains 5 essential vitamins, B3, B5, B6, B12, and vitamin C. It has 3 times the electrolytes of traditional sports drinks, and it's made with premium ingredients, non-GMO, and free from gluten, dairy, and soy. So grab your Liquid IV in bulk nationwide at Costco, or you can get 20% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use code honeydew at checkout. That's 20% off of anything you order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code honeydew at liquidiv.com. Now, let's get back to the do. So tell me about you say it's a generational curse. Tell me about your upbringing with your mom and stuff before we get into quitting school in 8th grade and dealing. What is that like? Are you also in Georgia then too?
Yeah, born and raised. My mom was an alcoholic. And she was... I've never really dealt with depression. I've seen depression. And my mom was depressed her whole fucking life.
She was.
All she did was cry. And my kids get on me like, you so like I'm not a very affectionate person. I love you, but I don't want you all over me. And I think it come because all I seen this lady do was cry. And tears to me shows weakness.
Okay.
And I just remember my mama crying all the fucking time. I was like, this bitch here. God damn, can't you hold back these tears anytime? And she cried about the same thing. Oh, your stepdaddy left for me. And as I got older, I realized why the stepdaddy left her. She never wanted no job. All she did was drink. And plus, he had just bought her a brand new false teeth, and the bitch ran him over. He had them teeth on layaway for 6 months.
You said teeth?
Yes.
She ran him over?
She ran her teeth over.
How do you run teeth?
Because she got mad and said, fuck these teeth, nigga, and put them up on her wheel and bagged up over them. Honest to God. And he looked like he was crushed.
Like the teeth.
He was like, bitch.
Yeah, the teeth are crushed.
He was like, bitch, I spent all my money, had these teeth on there, and you gonna run them over?
You got the wildest fucking story.
So he left after that. He's like, fuck, bitch, I'm out here. You gonna forever have that hole in your mouth. And so he left.
And you're just growing up with a depressed mom. Are you an only child?
No, it's 5 of us.
Oh, man.
There's
She's
5
just
of
crying all day long.
She cried a lot. And, we pretty much raised ourselves. And,
Your dad's not around at all?
No. My mom was 39 years old when she passed away.
Whoa, that's really young.
But if you saw her, you would think and it's let's be honest, hard to tell black people age, but you would have thought she was about 60s.
Is that the alcohol?
Just constant drinking, just depression, never happy, but was the funniest motherfucker I ever seen in my life. And I think that's how I became funny. When I tell you this lady was fucking hilarious. Now that I think back, I said, she was in a wheelchair. I should have pushed that bitch to the comedy club. We'd have been rich. Cause baby, she had some stories for your ass. But I didn't know it was a comedy club. She was hilarious. But in the same time, will tell you a story and then just bust out crying. I'm like, don't stop fucking crying. She was never happy.
And then what age are you on your own?
14. I had my first child, I moved out.
And is she gone at that point?
No, I lived behind her.
Okay.
I got me a little apartment with my welfare check. My baby daddy was a drug dealer. Started selling drugs. Back then, the rent was $200 for an apartment or $300. Paid my rent. And motherfucker had more holes in the wall than anything, but it was mine.
And then what next for you? You meet this man, this good man.
I meet him and
then do you get out of the neighborhood? Do you guys move?
Oh yeah, we moved together into an apartment and
in Atlanta still at that time?
In Atlanta. And we just started to make a life for ourselves. And I started to, little odd jobs here and there. And he worked at Simmons Mattress and eventually I got on that I worked at General Motors and I was like, excuse me, I said, this shit ain't for me. I talk too fucking much work around these old ass drunk people fucking up these cars we buying.
Were they all working drunk and shit?
Yeah. So, but they got a union so you can't fire them.
I love it. No wonder our cars are all fucked up.
So I ended up working at General Motors. He get at General Motors and he get on permanent and we got a life. And then I started some other shit and I got into comedy.
How? What makes you finally say, I'm done with this bullshit. I want to go try this? That night you went and saw that Bruce show, did something get... No.
Comedy was not on my list.
Okay.
It was Bill Clinton creating the Welfare to Work program. And I went through the whole program and a caseworker thought I was very funny. And she just kept saying, you did it yet? You did it? I'm like, bitch, get away from me. And I did it.
How old were you then?
I was probably 20.
Okay.
Maybe 21.
And she's like, you should go try this?
And I got on stage and I tried. And I was
Where's your first time?
The Pub. It was a place called The Pub in Atlanta over there in Morrow, Georgia. And I just went up and did it. And I was like, this is it? I can do this shit. So I went and bought a whole bunch of Richard Pryor shit because my next door neighbor said, you remind me of Richard Pryor, all these crazy ass stories. Mm-hmm. And so he said, I'm telling you a storyteller. So I didn't know nothing about comedy. I bought all the Richard Pryor shit. I bought all the Bill Cosby shit because I wanted to see how they tell stories. And I was like, oh, I am similar to, I do tell a lot of, crazy stories like Richard. And I just studied the shit out of Richard Pryor. I ain't nowhere as good as he is, but he taught me how to tell stories.
Me too, yeah. That's where I listen to. I mean, there'll be at least once a year, I'll go back and listen to his audio just in the dark. And I can feel like I'm in that room. He's talking about this cat over here with the hat on his head, and I see that guy. You know what I mean? Like he paints a picture that I only aspire to be able to do if you're,
Yeah.
And he's crazy good. Well, was obviously. I think that's my personal favorite too, Richard Pryor.
And
but talking about his mom being a prostitute and his dad,
he grew up in a brothel,
right?
And
his
I
grandma
grew up in a
running it, right?
house.
That's what I'm saying. You don't. It's not like you don't have similar parallels as well. But this is a man in the '70s telling these stories. 60s and 70s. I still watch Richard Pryor live in concert. You watch it. It's 1979 at Long Beach Convention Center.
I was a kid,
and he's talking about everything that it's timeless. You could lift it up and put it into our society today, and it's the cops beating black people. I mean, everything right there that we've all watched. Now everybody just has a camera. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's been true.
It's been true.
It's been true. Now everybody's got a camera to see it. And you could lift that up and put it. I think it's the greatest stand-up special ever.
It probably is.
Yeah, that's the one.
I saw Bill Cosby live one time. It was the smoothest 2 hours I ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it's a long time.
And I remember telling my friend, I was like, Bill Cosby done pissed me the fuck out. He's like, what's wrong? I said, I paid this money to see this motherfucker. He did 45 minutes. 45 minutes. My friend was like, bitch, we been here for 2 hours. So we been here for 2 hours. 2 fucking hours?
Yeah, it's a long time.
And he just took me on. It's like he held my hand and read a book to me. Or took me. I was in every scene with him, every story he told. It was really fucking good. That's when you know a comic really work at their technique. You know, a lot of people take this shit for granted, but it's 90% working on your technique. And I tell people all the time, I said, don't worry about the money. The money gonna come. If you work on your fucking technique and you work on your craft, the money gonna come.
It will.
It will.
This takes a long time, but it will.
Yeah.
I mean, the real money takes a minute. You can't do this for money.
No, you cannot.
If you're getting into comedy thinking I'm gonna make a bunch of money and that's your goal, you're not gonna make shit. You're gonna be out of it real quick.
You'll be sucking dicks for cigarettes.
Yeah. You sure fucking will.
Yeah, you just really have to just do it because you love it. Like I love stand-up.
Me too.
I love it. I mean, there been days I be at home and I'm like, I'm going to get on fucking stage. And, and people like, look up, you at open mic? You got them right, I'm at open mic. When I'm not busy, and if I take some time off, I will go hit the open mic to work out whatever I want to do. Mm-hmm. But it's very addictive. It's something that I really fucking love to do.
So can we talk about 2 things? You said you grew up in a bootlegger home. I want to talk about that. And I also want to talk about addiction for you.
I ain't been addicted to shit.
Comedy, though. You got an addiction to comedy.
Oh, comedy. Because a lot of people think because I was a crack dealer, I was on dope. I was not on fucking drugs. You never used the product.
That's the number 1 rule.
Well, I don't know what the rule was. The shit, I saw they was turning black people into zombies. Mm-hmm. When crack came out, it dried out all the fucking Jerry curls. I wasn't using that shit.
You blaming crack on that. I love that you're blaming crack on Jerry curls were a big deal back here in the 80s.
Hell yeah. Everybody had juicy hair. Yeah. Crack came along.
Deion Sanders up to say it looked wet, but it was dry. That's what he always likes to say.
Everybody had a fucking dry Jerry curl when crack came out. Fucking no goddamn crack. Had black women looking like zombies and shit.
That's what these pills are today. I'm watching people just walk down the street and they stop and fall asleep. And I'm like, how? How do you do those pills and that heroin and shit and just fucking sleep standing up like that and keep going? That's your motivation.
I mean, who would take something that would eat their teeth out in 2 weeks? You like, what the fuck happened to your teeth, Sarah? Mm-hmm. I don't need no teeth. Yes, you do, bitch.
Yeah, you do.
Yes, you do. You ain't gonna never be able to eat corn on the cob again.
So comedy's your addiction then?
Yes.
You get it.
I think I get it.
You get what all these crackheads have that jonesing for it. Like I'm the same way. This is great. But we'll release this in a week or whatever. So you don't have that instant gratification that you do on stage. I'm saying this and these people are laughing right now and hearing it all right now. That's the thing for me. That's the drug of stand-up for me is that instant reaction. You and I are reacting in here, but that's different than a room full of hundreds of people laughing at what you say. And good or bad, that reaction's immediate. People don't like this episode. We don't know about that for a week. They don't like this set I'm doing right now. They're fucking booing me right there in the seat. You know what I mean? That's what I love about stand-up.
I that's what I love about it too. I also love that you can take, I love how I can take 200 to 300 people in a room and control them with my voice. What I'm saying with my words and what I'm taking them on this ride. And I work really hard to paint this picture because I have this little thing I said at the top of my set. Come on, white people, I'm about to take you on a Negro field trip.
That's already a great song.
And you can already see them in their mind putting on their seatbelts and they ready to go through the hood because they got Miss Pat leading them. They gonna be safe. And I just take them through, eras of my life and I tell these stories of, these situations that I've been in and they right there with you, laughing, ready to cry, ready to fight. And that's what I love about stand-up. And then when I'm done, I can say good night and say, get the fuck out of my car and everybody go home.
Yeah. Now, tell me about growing up in a bootlegging household, you said.
My granddaddy sold moonshine. So my granddaddy sold moonshine. And, in this house, it was just, everything went down. I did it on my special from prostitution to gambling. It was nothing that we didn't see as kids. Nothing was off limits. Nothing. When I tell you, the thing that I remember the most about living in this bootleg house now is I used to ask myself, why the fuck do my granddaddy put a car change around his refrigerator? One of them things that you told another car with, those thick ass chains, was
he would wrap that around the refrigerator.
Because he would say, you niggas ain't gonna get cold water. So I say, you niggas can have cold water.
He didn't even want you to have the water?
Now that I got older, I realized he kept his moonshine in the refrigerator also. And my granddad kept his money and his pistol in the refrigerator. So if you try something, he popped that lock, that motherfucker chain hit the ground, he'll shoot the shit out your head.
You got a few seconds to run while he's getting that chain undone.
Man, my granddad kept a chain. He kept a chain around that goddamn refrigerator. You would thought that refrigerator was in jail. He locked that bitch up all the time.
Can you imagine, as a parent now, your kids seeing what you saw growing up?
Oh, my kid's a bunch of pussy. They be done call the police on me. Mama got that refrigerator locked up. You're damn right. Because back in those days, kids didn't get fat. You ain't want nobody fat. You took your ass outside, you ran, you played. These motherfuckers sitting in how video game, you look up, these motherfuckers got 4 chins on their ass.
You would think the generation, because I'm 50 in a couple weeks, I'm your generation. We were the ones where the video games first came out. You would think we'd you'd think we'd be the ones that were super addicted to it, but we balanced it. We'd be going out all day.
No, let me say something to you.
Go ahead.
Do you remember the fucking Atari?
Yeah, I do.
It was one little dot, and that was football. It was. And you had to play them dots. That shit was so fucking confusing. If you gave these kids that, they would beat the shit out of you. But
I'm saying the excitement of this video game era, we're at the beginning of it.
We didn't have much.
But I'm saying you would think we'd be the ones that would get addicted to this new thing that was coming in. No, we were always out riding bikes.
But
that's what I'm saying. They don't do that
Atari
anymore.
wasn't that interesting either.
Yeah,
you had that little dot, then you had the football men behind. And that's all you had was football. You follow the fucking dot. Now they got real men talking shit, chest bumping.
They do.
If you ever seen Grand Theft Auto, I was watching my kids rape a bitch one day. I said, you do not fuck hoes and don't pay them. So you didn't have all that back then. You didn't have all that back then. So, this shit is like watching I saw my son playing a video game, and before he could play, he had to watch a whole movie on what was going the fuck on.
My stepson does that. I'm like, what are you watching right now? He's like, I'm watching these people
movie.
play it. I said, what? You're watching people
not play. No, before he get to play, in between each play or whatever, it shows you the movie of what's going on, what about to happen. They meet up, they talk. And I said, this is a good ass movie. He said, Mom, this is a video game. I said, they turn that shit off. So it's much better now. So you really can't blame them. I was just telling somebody today, I said, I don't think these kids gonna know how to ride bicycles in 10 years. Because they got these little hoverbulbs and shit, you ain't gotta move your body no more. These motherfuckers gonna be so stiff by the time they get 45. They're gonna be fucking walking, they're gonna be on canes.
I feel like that now with the cars and the cameras and shit. I can't remember the last time I put my arm behind the seat and looked back to back up. I'm looking here on this camera now.
Now, my daddy was 70 years old, and I remember one time I told my daddy, back the car, but he's like, I said, use the camera. He said, I can't motherfucker see on that camera. Why y'all got a fucking TV here trying to tell me what to do? And my daddy used to throw his whole head back to back up.
Yeah.
He would not get into that camera.
On that gas.
He would not get into that bullshit.
Tell me this. Tell me some of the biggest challenges you have as like a parent growing up the way you grew up and the way you were parented.
What did you say?
I said, what are some of the biggest challenges you've had as a mom, as a parent, in growing up the way you grew up, and now you're trying to teach your kids?
Not saying the things that my mama said that was hurtful. I've said them before, but I have to catch myself like bitch and, cussing them out. And I still cuss them out, but not as harsh as my mama did with us.
She make it personal?
Very. Get your ugly ass out of here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was always called ugly.
Ugly?
Yeah, so I started off in the beginning, and I remember my husband having to talk with me. He's like, hey, your words is going to last way longer than an ass whooping. You might want to watch what you say.
Man, you got a good man.
He's a pretty good man.
Where'd he... like, how'd he come up? Because
he grew up his daddy worked for the city. His mom
but
was
somebody
a
cared
homemaker.
enough about him to say these things to him.
Well,
and
he had a
teach him
good
these
family.
things. He
He
did.
was 16 of them. So he had a good
holy
ass
shit,
family.
that's a big family too.
Yeah, he had a very big family. Very Christian-fied. And, he grew up probably like Leave It to Beaver.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he came from a very good background.
And again, you listen to that.
Yes, I do.
It resonates with you.
It did. Yeah. And it still do. I'm still with him. I wouldn't trade him
I
for
say
the
30
words.
years, right? You said 30, 31 years?
Mhm.
I mean, that's a hell of a long time.
Yeah.
You must love him.
I do some days. Someday I want to kick his fucking ass. But
What's all right? So he's dropping some knowledge and some lessons on you. What are some where you've told him like, oh yeah, well how about this? And he's like, okay.
I think I've taught him street knowledge. I don't think he was smart in that street area like I am. Like when the bullshit
like
go
what?
down, I speak the fuck up. My husband ain't gonna complain. He gonna be like, yay, But me, nah, I'm ready to fight about everything. And, I know bullshit. I be like, come on, you can't see this bullshit? My husband's take you as your word. I'm like, no, this motherfucker here is trying to rob us. So it's that kind of shit.
Yeah.
It's that me being more aware of the bullshit than he are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What all right, so you have 4 kids. Have you raised each one of them differently? I imagine you've had to. You had the first one at 14, then you said 15 and 16.
The first 2, I call them my Medicaid kids. The second 2, I call my second 2 my Blue Cross Blue Shield kids. So yeah, the second 2 daddy raised the first 2 kids. So if you watch the show, you'll see a lot of that in it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, he did raise their brothers. Or was it, you have boy and girl?
A boy, girl. I have a girl, boy, girl, boy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he raised all 4 of those kids with you.
All 4 of them.
Damn.
Yes, he did.
It's a lot of, and then help with your sisters for a little while too.
And I got custody of my niece kids right now.
And how is he as a stepdad versus a dad?
He's not a stepdad. He's just everybody's dad.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah,
he's he's good with it.
Yeah, everybody's dad.
And how is he as a father?
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's better than me as a mama.
You think so for real, or are you just joking?
He got a lot more patience than I do.
It sounds like he does.
I be like, I'm about to knock this motherfucker head off. He's like, Pat, don't talk to the babies like that. Fuck them.
What's the hardest part about marriage for you?
Hardest part about marriage is it's work.
I mean, 31 years. Tell me about that.
You got to keep working to stay in love.
You do, because you've gone from, I mean, I hear some people get divorced. I'm like, that's why you're getting divorced over that?
Yeah.
You guys have gone from the streets.
He wasn't in the streets. I was getting out of the streets, yeah. From the struggle to now. Yeah, we've been through a lot.
But now also entertainment and growing in comedy over the years and supporting that. Like this.
He supported a lot of my bullshit.
That's a lot. It's a one in I don't know what chance to someone makes themselves successful at stand-up comedy at your level.
You're right.
And he's supporting you doing that.
He wanted me to quit in the beginning, but
He
I was
did.
like, it's something here. I want to keep going.
What was it? He wanted you to just have the stability of like that
Well,
GM
I had a job at General Motors.
Yeah, that's a good
And he was
job.
like, hey, this is a lot of fucking money. I was like, hey, I don't need that. I don't go over and do this
401ks,
stuff.
insurance, all
I
that
said, you
stuff.
go do it, and we'll still have it. We don't need double.
Yeah, that's
We don't
right.
need
We'll
double.
still have-
One is enough. And so I went and he went and did it, and I did stand up. It took off. Guess what? He retired last year.
Did he really?
Yeah.
How old's he now?
He's 50. He
Man,
retired.
hell yeah.
He retired 8 years early.
That's nice.
Yeah. So I was like, hey, you can retire now. We good. Let's go.
Wow.
Yeah.
He put all that time into and gets to retire 8 years. How is he doing with retirement? Is he seems like a worker though. At least he wants to do
we're building
something.
another house, so
Okay.
he
So he's got projects.
he got projects, but he get on my fucking nerves sometimes. He really do, because he gets bored and he going by like a $5,000 drone. I'm like, what the fuck are you gonna do with that? Please.
a drone. He wants
Put
to,
it in the air and can't get it down.
You don't need no $5,000 when I know that.
He done calmed down a lot, but he enjoying retirement. He sit at the house. He's good. He's good.
Tell me some of the stuff you miss about the streets back in the day.
Nothing.
Nothing at all.
No, because I lived a life. So all that partying and shit was out of me by the time I was 19. I had already did it all.
God, all of it by 19.
Yeah, by 19, 20, I was
You're
done.
still a baby.
Yeah, but I was ready to be settled down and just have a life.
How did you relate to other kids your age?
I thought they was stupid
Yeah.
because I was a mom.
Did you
I was a
have
wife.
any friends at all at that age that you connected with back then?
Yeah, we was hanging in this. All my friends was older too. Like I'm 50 now. My friends are 60.
Okay, I see. So they're all 10 years older.
Yeah, all
right?
of my friends was way older than me. I was the only bitch that was too young to get in the club. I was always with the fake ID. Everybody else was the right age.
Right.
So, by the time I started to get married, they started to get married. So we was all settled down together.
I see.
So really
So
didn't
kids
matter.
your age were just like, nah,
Yeah.
you don't even know what's going on out here.
They was stupid to me. I'm like, why you not working? Why you been an asshole? But I was off with a husband and a family, so I couldn't understand why they was being kids. Because they was fucking kids. They were supposed to be having the time of their lives.
Right.
But I already had the time of my life when I was fucking in elementary and middle school.
Yeah, and they're all just getting started.
They all just getting started the right way.
Yeah, right.
The right way.
I just had a question I really wanted to ask you now. I don't remember now, damn it. I rarely forget my questions. I do want to know, how old were you when you got married? Like officially married?
19.
Oh, damn.
No, I'm sorry, 20.
God, so you did everything fast. You're
Everything.
married with children by 20 years old.
We bought our first
You
house
can't
when we
even
was
drink
25.
yet, legally.
He could, I couldn't.
Wow.
Bought our first house when we was 25. Ended up moving out to Indiana when I was in my early 30s.
Why there? Why'd you guys go to
Because
Indiana?
General Motors closed in Atlanta.
Oh, I see.
We spent 15 years out there. Yeah,
I
in
say
my
when I
late
met
30s.
you, I feel like you were out there.
I probably was.
Yeah, years
probably
ago I
was.
met you and you were in Indiana.
So I was there like 15, 16 years, and now I'm back in Atlanta.
What do you like better?
I'm born and raised. That's my city.
Yeah.
Yeah. Indiana too white for me.
Is it?
Yeah. I need to go places where it's kind of still divided. I wouldn't say it's racism. It's just how the city just cut up. I lived in a place called Plainfield, Indiana. And when I would tell black people, yeah.
I know Plainfield.
Indiana?
Yeah, I sure do. I got it's crazy. A girl at the time I was dating in high school, her family moved to Plainfield, Indiana. Her dad got a job out there. And, we're all still friends. It was her and her sister. And I just went to Indianapolis, and she and her husband and her sister all came out, helped me sell merch. We all hung out. But Plainfield, I took a Greyhound from Baltimore to Plainfield, Indiana. It was not easy.
So I
mean,
lived
that
there for
is out
15
there.
years. Yeah. Fucking, and I tell black people I live there, they was like, why? The school system good, motherfucker. And it's a nice neighborhood. And so, black people lived on that side, and then it's almost like the biracial people lived in another part of the city, and then you had us, over here. And I was like, y'all too divided. Atlanta separates you by money. Not by color, money.
I see. Okay.
You can have a rapper living next door to motherfucking a fucking governor.
Got it.
Imagine. Money separates you. And I just had that was kind of, I didn't like that. We go anywhere and live in Atlanta. We don't give a fuck.
And you got to get recognized a lot in Atlanta now.
I do.
Yeah.
I get recognized a
Yeah,
lot.
good.
The whole fame thing I hate is now I got to put my wig on right and put on makeup. I can't have ashy feet no more. I can't just run to Walmart anymore.
can't just throw some flip-flops on and run to Walmart.
I ran to Sam the other day and everybody like, let me get a picture. I said, never fucking again. I'm going to make sure I have my shit together.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the shit I hate about fame because I just can't look any kind of way.
Oh my God. How about relatives? You got relatives that
No.
support and come out? Nothing.
No.
What about siblings? Are you close with your siblings?
No.
Everybody just had to grow up differently and fend for themselves back then, or what?
Pretty much. I mean, I got a brother in jail, one in North Carolina. I don't really deal with. I kind of went out and made my own family. That's what I did.
You made a big one though.
I do. I have a pretty big family, and I have some really good friends in my life.
Do you still have your sister's kids?
No, my sister got them back when I had them about 11 years. They got on dope, and then now I got one of my sister kids. So I got my sister grandkids.
Got it.
And I've had them for going on 10 years.
Man,
I
how many
adopted
people
them.
you've been taking care of?
A lot.
Yeah, you've got 4 of your own kids.
Mm-hmm. I have 4 adopted kids, and then I have that's who's in the house now. But my kids are grown.
Yeah, but they weren't. No.
Well, they weren't with the other kids, but they are now. So it's just me. I have an older daughter that's 24, and then the 4 adopted kids.
Who's the youngest? 24?
My youngest is a 22-year-old
22.
boy.
And he's home or he's gone too?
He's home.
How do you feel about everybody being grown and stuff? Do you miss all them being around, or you really
We
like
do a
it?
lot together as a family, so I don't really miss.
Yeah, you got your girls here now.
Yeah, my daughter's here.
I love
it. Yeah, I'm always traveling with somebody.
Listen, you're such a fascinating person.
Thank you.
I mean, you really are. First of all, the fact that you're not dead after all that shit is amazing. I know you know
it would
that
be
now.
fucked up if God gave me cancer. No, you don't got a shot, and then they don't get a cancer.
It really is amazing. The numbers, the stats on you getting out of there alive, number 1 is a big thing. 2, getting out of there alive and making something of yourself is a big deal. You ever think about that?
I try not to.
Yeah.
It's work.
It is work.
I try not to think about the things I accomplish.
How do you do that when you're including these sort of storylines in your sitcom and stuff? Do you ever have a moment like, man, you really read that, or hear someone else say a line, you're like, man, I live that. Do you ever have that moment?
No, because I just look at I put everything in a category called work. So even though the sitcom is 90% of my life, I don't look at me as being the star of it. I tell them we all stars. It take all of us, even the people behind the camera, to make this shit work.
But I mean, is there a moment like with another actor on the set or something where they write, you say, no, this is how it went down, and then you hear it come back to you?
Well, when we writing it, and then when we act it out, yes, there's been time I fucking bust out crying.
Yeah.
There have been times, we had to move some things around. But yeah, I feel it all the time. But as far as what I accomplish, I just look at everything as being work. I don't put no chip on my shoulder. I try to stay as humble as possible. I'm just grateful. I'm thankful. And I just want people to know, I tell them, and we heard this 1,000 times for years, it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. So, I try to uplift people and say, hey, you're looking at somebody who was just thrown away by society. And when you get up and you make up your mind that you want to do something for yourself, then you can do it.
That's it right there. That's the truth. That's what this whole show's about, just being thrown away and thrown away and thrown away. And then you just got to get your ass up and go do it.
And that's what happened. When you get up and go do it, you're fine. And you're going to be okay. I tell everybody, the first step to accomplish anything in life is to learn how to love yourself. When you put yourself first and you can learn how to love yourself, then everything else will fall into place. But you cannot accomplish anything when you putting other people before you and when you don't love yourself. When I started to love myself, I told everybody else, kiss my ass. I wasn't searching for friends anymore. I wasn't searching for love anymore. All of that stuff came into my life the right way. It wasn't being forced. So the first key to anything, I would say, is to love yourself.
It's been a great episode. I could talk to you forever. I'm curious how you're going to answer this question, though, and then I'm going to let you get out of here. We're going to promote everything one more time.
Okay.
But what, now knowing what we've talked about, especially your age, too, with everything that happened, what advice would you give to your 16-year-old self?
If I could give advice to my 16-year-old self, I would look back and say, I'm so glad we didn't give up.
Fuck yeah, don't give up.
I'm so glad we didn't give up.
I mean, also know this too, and a lot of young people ask me this too, but part of it is just staying in the fucking game. You got to stay in the game. You can't quit and expect.
Can't take no break.
No.
With all the shit that was thrown at me at the kitchen, you'd have thought so many times I wanted to quit. I should have quit. But I didn't quit.
Yeah.
And look where I'm at today.
That's right. I'm glad you didn't. Good for you. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're the best. Promote everything one more time, please.
Please go to MissPatComedy.com for tour tickets. I'm getting ready to start a theater tour.
Hell yeah.
In the fall. Also, make sure you watch the 3rd season of the Miss Pat Show on BET Plus and Amazon Prime. Now, if you're not familiar with the Miss Pat Show, you can always start from season 1 because it's 3 whole seasons for you to fucking watch. So make sure you do that. I also have a podcast called The Pat Down with Miss Pat. So make sure y'all check me out on my own podcast called The Pat Down.
All right. Thank you for doing this.
Thank
you. As always, RyanSickler.com, Ryan Sickler on all social media. We'll talk to y'all next week.